Welcome, everyone, to the Profitable Regeneration webinar series, the Profitable Steward Podcast. And we're very grateful to have Audrey Cunningham here with us today. We're grateful for those who are here live and for those that are listening to the recording. At Ag Steward, we do these twice a month. We encourage you to jump on live. And so if you guys have found the link, that's those that are live, that's how you get there. And I'll post the link in the show notes for those who are watching the replay, either on YouTube or listening to it. So you guys can jump on live, get your questions answered, and join us. So with that, Audrey, tell us where you're from and what brings you into agriculture. And I know you're going to talk a lot about that on your presentation. Actually, let's do this. Is there anything that's unique about you that maybe didn't make it in your bio that's maybe one of those outlier things that you'd want to share? It doesn't have to be embarrassing or anything, just something that one of the little known facts about Audrey that you'd want to share.
Yes, well, I will say the like little snippets, little fun facts. So I will say I am actually an Appalachian clogger. So that is something that not many people know about me, but we did get to go when I was growing up. We moved around a little bit with my dad's work, and I got to learn how to clog when we lived up in Virginia to bluegrass music. So I feel like that's just something like a fun fact out there.
Uh-huh. So do you still do it, or was it just a younger you that was the clogger?
It was definitely a younger me back in the 4-H days. By the time I hit college, I had to leave it in the past, but we did have a little 4-H group going there for a minute in Pontotoc County.
Oh, right on. Well, good. Well, good. Well, we're grateful
Yes,
to have you
absolutely.
here with us. Those that are joining, we'll do some Q&A. If you have questions as we go along, I can monitor the chat and interject those, but we will have time for questions at the end. And so encourage you to stick to the end. And so, yeah, if you want to go ahead and queue up your presentation, we'll jump right in.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to y'all today on women in agriculture. I am Audrey. I actually am residing in Lockhart, Texas, so I'm kind of considered South Central, but I am a born Mississippian. So my agriculture roots stem from my maternal grandparent. My grandfather on my mother's side was the state veterinarian in Mississippi. And my paternal grandfather, my dad's dad, he used to work with his father in providing chickens and shipped them all the way up to Chicago on the trains after raising them. And then he actually had a more entrepreneurial side and owned a grocery store. So I will say I know what it takes from the very grassroots of it and appreciate what agriculture brings to the world. So it wouldn't be a world today without agriculture. We touch and handle products all day, every day. So, about me, I definitely had a passion for horses specifically. So, with horses came along goats and roping calves and the desire to have cows. And so, I appreciated my opportunity being very involved with 4-H growing up. And that was, a part of consumer judging, clothing construction, along with beef judging, livestock judging, horse judging. And I think it's just a foundation of instilling, being comfortable with leadership roles and being a part of a team when you're going to compete. I did get to get started in high school rodeo, and specifically, I wanted to do goat tying and calf roping. So now I compete on my two American quarter horse mares. I compete in the Women's Professional Rodeo Association on in the breakaway roping, which is, catch as fast as you can, and then also the tie down roping. So I was really proud this year. I got to 2023 actually. I got to win Reserve World in the tie down, and I got to win the Texas circuit it was my first Texas circuit. Prior, I had won the Southeastern circuit in the tie down. So very proud of that. I did get to, when I was going through college, I went to Sam Houston State University and was on their rodeo team. And then I decided I wanted to go ahead and get my master's. So I went back to Union University. It's technically Jackson, Tennessee, but I went to the Germantown, Tennessee campus and got my master's in business administration with the marketing concentration. I wanted, because I was so heavily personally involved in agriculture, I wanted a business degree, very separate. I wanted to have that for myself to be able to have that backbone because I felt like I had the personal experience for my resume to be involved in ag. So I originally went to school and to get involved in nonprofits to be a therapeutic riding instructor. So I actually got my certification through Path International for certified therapeutic riding, and then also the Certified Horseman Association. I'm a master instructor, which is level 4 in Western and level 4 in English with jumping. So I've always enjoyed sharing my love and passion of horses with others, even from the grassroots. So I never minded letting somebody have their first experience with a horse. I think that is the have a long standing agriculture for a long time, you have to be able to embrace the beginners and bring people in from outside who've never been to the barn, doesn't know what it sounds like to hear a goat holler. So I think it's awesome to be able to have that. And I wanted to make the transition into sales and marketing after I got involved with the nonprofits, and I wanted to be more I don't know how you say it, just more. I want to get my hands on some business. So today I sell farm and ranch equipment for Carter, and they are based in Dunville, Kentucky, but they are also um, in Corinne, Utah. Have a plant over there. So I cover Texas right now for them, and I call it independence and chain accounts. And I really do enjoy my job. It is very fun to be in outside sales. I get to see a lot of Texas. So I do appreciate seeing people from the hill country. It feels like it's close to home, the panhandle, going all over. It seems like there's a lot. So, why I'm here today is because of my involvement with Ag Women Connect. And I am the Lockhart, Texas chapter leader for them. And I really see the value in networking and embrace and learning from others who know more than me in the industry, and also being willing to share with those who are interested and want to be involved. So, what I have today to present is kind of more of a segue. What is Ag Women Connect? And they are actually founded in the Panhandle of Texas, but they have 15 chapters, national and states, and then in Texas we have regions. And it was founded by Vanessa Wood. We've got the national chapter. We offer virtual connections, memberships, and also just a resource. So what it is Ag Women Connect, as we saw a need of embracing more women in agriculture and wanting to be a platform for women to be able to come in and share their thoughts and ideas and stories. The little tagline is "Your stories matter," and then also it's just America's platform for women in agriculture. The What I do feel like having is the opportunity to be able to network is cultivating connection. So I know we all understand agriculture. We're planting the seed today to harvest, for down the road tomorrow. So I do know it is scary for folks, but y'all are a testament for being able to stick your neck out there and join something for greater and the meeting of the minds. So I feel like that cultivating connection is networking, that you are who you surround yourself with. So I know it's always the folks that want to say that you were a reflection of the 5 people closest to you. And I think it just means so much that I guess for y'all being a part of this today, that you're wanting to better yourself in the industry around you, and to be a point person for others, to be a springboard for this industry to farther it along. So I do think that 80% of success is showing up. So I do know that sometimes it is scary to set aside the time to have personal and professional development, but it is so important to be put on the brave face and join in and be a part of something. So I do think that that is something that more people need to realize is hey, sometimes it's just taking a hard day and making sure you make it count, and showing up for not just yourself, but everybody around you as well. Leveling up. There is a little, it is kind of a little corny, but I do like it. It's praise and be raised, or complain and remain the same. So what I mean by that is I do think it is so important to be an encourager in this industry. It is very, very easy to complain about the industry issues that are impacting us. For on a large level, on national, international problems within our industry and ag. And it's a lot easier just to talk about the negative side of things. And I think it is very, very important to remember that we need to be an encouragement to others in our industry, that they are the movers and the shakers making this industry continue to thrive. Because I think there's are a lot of things out there, and whether that is organizations that are not necessarily pro ag, that they, I feel like sometimes folks have more of an impact to put down the agriculture industry. And I think it's really important to level us all up. And that's what I mean by praise and be raised, where we're in this together. So let's be in an encouragement together, and not fall into the pitfall of just complaining. So that's what I do think, when it's very important when you show up to networking events. And networking is, hey, even if you got to just tell yourself to pick out one thing that needed to be positive, not just it's easier to complain about what others are saying, and being negative, and it's showing up to be a positive light. The Today I did want to touch on the statistics of women in agriculture. I think it's very important that and this is maybe also the salesman in me, that the numbers don't lie. So this is what I mean is organizations and associations put out a lot of surveys, and when you're joining things and you're putting in your information up, and they're asking you, where are you located? What is your involvement in the industry? What do you have? Whether it's the type of livestock animals or the type of farming and ranching that you're doing. And what they are doing is putting together that numbers baseline, and now we use them for statistics. So whether that is, the USDA, the American Horse Council, I know Cattle Facts with does a lot of the surveys through their membership. So that's why I just wanted to make a point to say that I know it's annoying to do those surveys, but there comes a point that they're actually useful, and you are part of the statistics. So what I wanted to touch on with women in agriculture is that there are a reported 1.2 million female producers in the United States. Compared to male producers in agriculture, the women are slightly younger. They're more likely to live on the farm that they operate, and they are more likely to be a beginning producer. In fact, 41% of beginning producers are women. And obviously, this came from the USDA. I do think that that is such a light to realize, is that these women are not only making this a business venture, this is also a lifestyle to them, that they're wanting to live on the farm and make it the operation work for them. The In total, women make up 36% of farmers and ranchers in the United States as farm operators, and they have 58% of all the farms have at least one female decision maker. So just because they might not have ownership for their statistics when they did the survey, that they are also a decision maker of, whether it's on feed or what they're buying or what are they doing with their resources that year, or what they're having to get done and get accomplished that week, that day. In Texas, 33% of farmer and ranchers are women. They are utilizing 43 million acres of land, and they are making a economic impact of $818 million. And that is 120,000 women in Texas alone. I think this is really important to call out, just because Texas, they're very similar from the United States numbers. It's very similar. So I don't know if that's just broken down just in Texas alone, or if that is more consistent throughout other states as well. I do think that it is important to call out on these statistics that they're only as good as the information that they received. So I know that people like to call out, and that's why I tried to pull from different sources. So whether that's the census and the USDA and the Farm Bureaus, but you can actually look these numbers up. So the USDA, they break them down by state and by county, and you can break them down by numbers of cattle, sheep, goats. You can break it down so you can look at them yourselves to find out, but this is just more of the overview. For ag advocacy, so I do feel like that not only is it like the tagline for Ag Women Connect, but your story matters, and you are the best advocate for yourself and your farm, your ranch, and this industry. So what I wanted to touch on about ag advocacy is there are some things that we are constantly trying to go to battle for, and having to backstep and correct from other people. And that is dis, and malinformation. And so misinformation is false information that is not intended to cause harm. Misinformation is just a consumer or somebody who is not a part of the industry that is trying to speak for the industry that just doesn't know. And I think that it should be very encouraged that your perspective, your knowledge is needed out here in the world. And there is just misinformation out there, and people just don't know. And it's not that you necessarily have to call them out, but you can speak for the industry and for your operation. There is disinformation out there, and that is deliberately created to mislead, harm, or manipulate people, organizations, and even countries. And disinformation is needed to be, obviously debunked. And sometimes it's just out there, and we need to recognize it and understand that misinformation and disinformation is very different. It's disinformation definitely somebody has a negative intention to the producer or the industry. Malinformation is based on fact, but it is out of context to mislead, and is used. Malinformation is based on fact, but used out of context to mislead, harm, or manipulate. And disinformation and malinformation obviously have a slight differences, but I just wanted to put it out there because when you're seeing little snippets in the news or across social media, you can also arm yourself with discernment to understand that there are differences between these, and also who is it's coming from. I do want to be an encouragement that, like I said, you are your best advocate. And so that is, you obviously consider your strengths and weaknesses and lean into your network. So ask for help, consider to delegate, understand that no one is perfect. So you got to give grace to those that you are surrounding yourself with or speaking with. Sometimes it might be just a bad day that you call on somebody, and they might be busy. Hey, they might be shipping a lot of cattle, so you might need to call back next week, and I'm sure they'll still be able to be a resource for you, but just understand that sometimes life is very seasonal in the ag industry. Take action. I want to be an encouragement to speak up for what you are passionate about. So that is, hey, if you're passionate about your goats or your cattle, speak up for them. Be it represent your farm, your ranch, and your industry. I do realize that not everybody loves it, but it is out there, and that is social media. And I think that it is such a good thing to be able to have a platform to stand on and share with others about our industry. And that I will say that instead of falling in the traps of the mis, dis, or malinformation, I think that it's really awesome to be an encouragement to those that might not understand what's going on. But you can be an encourager for somebody to be involved in the industry and or uplift others that you see sharing their operations. And you don't have to feel like you're necessarily an influencer, but just be an encourager. I think that's a better mindset to kind of put a different cap on for it. And what I wanted to kind of segue this is what is the truth? So for an advocate, I think it is very important to seek and speak the truth of the industry and of operations and in your home, on your platform, and with friends in the community. And I do think that it is very important not to speak on the subjects or assumptions of what horrible things could happen. I think it's better to be very truthful and honest about things that are going on, and not trying to, because sometimes you are that little seed to get somebody's mind going positive and uplift them and be an encourager instead of be more of negative and make them feel like they're going to have a harder time at moving forward with their operations or this season. So I think it's very important to speak the truth and not just somebody's assumptions, and understand, hey, it might be misinformation and they just might not know. It might have been their bad. So I think it's really important. Um, like I said, I did want to for anybody out there, and it's not to exclude our male producers out there, but to discover the Ag Women Connect group, that I do think that it is such a wonderful platform for women to feel that they can be encouraged. They can still be involved in the ag industry. They don't feel like they have to be excluded, to still have networking opportunities and a resource to go to, because sometimes it is intimidating to go to a male producer. I know I saw one statistic of Cattle Facts saying that there's only like 2 or 3% of women in the feed that own feedlots, and I think that it is such a intimidating industry, the ag world, sometimes for folks. And I think that sometimes if that could be just the start of to get a name and a phone number, if that would make you feel better, if somebody in a different country and stranger, that these women want to help and want to be a resource. They do have a first ever Ag Women Connect conference. And like I said, this isn't just to exclude, then everybody can get a ticket. But they are wanting to do exciting panel discussions, to be able to have a Q&A, introduce folks to ag thought leaders. And why that's important is, hey, they want to be positive for ag. They want to support ag. They want to talk about labels. They want to talk about the producing crops and farms and being involved, whether it's from a rodeo or show standpoint, and just being able to show the results of what they are working on and working towards to be a part. It is going to be in Texas, so it will be in Fort Worth, but it will be September 26th through 28th. And they do have all of the tickets and everything on the agwomenconnect.com. The pre-sale has not happened yet, but you can be involved and stay in touch with Ag Women Connect. And what they're trying to do is be very resourceful of showing statistics, recent statistics, and being able to show our industry issues. So they're just trying to put together a lot of folks from a lot of different segments of the agriculture industry into one. And I think that is important to be a part of, in the know of what is going on in our industry, what is happening. And so they do have a lot of different places to connect with them from and where they're at. And so I just wanted to share with y'all on that. And I know I kind of flew through it, so I'm sorry, Mr. Jared. So I it's a salesman in me when we get to going for getting to talk. But I will if there is any questions or anything. If I hadn't checked the chat, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yep. So far, no questions, but feel free to jump in the chat and if you have any questions, Audrey, we'd love to hear from our audience that here live. From your experience with people, and those statistics were pretty neat to see. I had no idea. And that is neat to see that women have such a huge role in agriculture. And I think we all know that, but I didn't realize to that level. So what would you recommend, Audrey, for somebody who wants to just get started? Just say they are like, man, I don't know if I need to narrow it down more than that, because it could be farming, it could be ranching, it could be in horses, it could be anywhere. But from your experience, like if somebody has the bug and they're like, man, the agriculture thing is great. How do I get started? Because the barrier to entry is pretty high to go buy a farm or a ranch right now. And you don't want to go into debt for the rest of your life to be able to pay it off, but maybe that definitely can work. So what would you recommend?
So I think there's two ways to think about it. And I will say there was one statistic I didn't put in the slide because it was more generic for all, but they said 62 or 64% of farmers and ranchers have a job off site. And I don't think people realize that is that, hey,
Yeah.
these folks, we are funding our passion. And so I think if somebody wants to get involved in agriculture, get your hands in the dirt. And I know if somebody wants to be a farmer, start with a raised bed planter. You can do that virtually anywhere. You can start gardening. It starts on a small scale. The county extension offices, I know realize sometimes in the more rural areas there are a few counties collectively, but I think the county extension office is a great way to get started. And if you don't know and you want to get started, by all means, be willing to move and be willing to take a job somewhere to get started entry level. Because I will say that you might not get paid much. In money, but you might get paid very much in knowledge if you're just willing to work and get your hands involved. And I think there's a lot of people that don't take advantage of that because if you have a passion and you're willing to do the all days work or go live on a farm, I think that's just a wonderful way to get started. And I don't believe anybody can research too much. It is so worth it to be able to just research to what you are interested in, where you need to go, and who you can connect with. I think that's where I would encourage anybody to start.
Yeah, that is great. That's great. There's a question in the chat, but before we go to there, who have been your mentors? Who are the people that have influenced you the most in your journey in agriculture?
Yeah, so I think the most influential person for me, the pivotal, was my first riding instructor, just because she got me through the fear of horses and being able to go through scary things and hard things to be able to try a little harder at it. And I think that it is that was a very big influence in my life. And then also the ladies along the way for me that have been encouragement in this industry that showed me that it could be done. And would always share a very positive word with me to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. So there's a question. I might have to shut my video off, so maybe my internet will hold out here. How do you feel about small farms that produce specialty crops such as mushrooms, ginseng, heirloom fruits, vegetables, direct marketing, grass-fed beef, and other things? What?
Absolutely. I do think that hey, that is honestly where I'm seeing the market go. So I do sell farm and ranch equipment, and I have been posed more questions about how to take my cattle handling equipment and work buffalo. So
Hmm.
in Texas, there's been a very significant trend on the increasing buffalo and taking your ranch. That, I mean, to be honest, you can become more profitable that way from what it looks like, because it's more direct marketing of their ranch and their meat. They are selling the jerky and the meat right out from the feed stores that I call on, and also mailing, to set up a website, e-commerce, and they're sending it on. And am I feel that it is for the right person in the right place to utilize their space and their equipment. It can actually be more profitable to have a specialty. So it's kind of what I think a lot of people consider niche marketing. But I do see a trend increasing with that. And I'm seeing a lot more in like West Texas and South Texas capitalizing specifically on the buffalo, which is wild to drive by and see, but I do like it. It's very like nostalgic, like a Western video. So like one of those old school movies. So I do think that that is kind of where a lot of the farms and ranches are going to capitalize on in the future.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We see that a lot amongst our connections. And so the direct marketing side of it is specifically um margins are high. So if you can figure out the ins and outs of processing and things like that in the marketing, how do you guys, what have you found as the best way to connect with your avatar, your people, specifically women in agriculture? Like how how do you market, and what have you found that works? What have you found that's challenging? And
So I will say, I don't think that it's a problem of women being taken serious in the industry. I think a lot of women just don't feel brave enough to be their own marketing. They are the personality, they are the brand, and it is putting themselves out there, that they're owning it, that they are their message out to the world, that that is their product, going to shelves or being direct to consumer. And I think it is just starting with that, what feels like a crappy cell phone video that can be consistently involved in showing what their messaging is and what their product is. And people will believe and support you if you just put your message out there. And I think that it is very interesting to see that women are being more, how do you say it, more vocal about that they are here in the industry involved, and they want to see it grow, and they want to see their brand and their farm and their ranch successful. I did see the question about how many states is the Ag Women Connect in,
yeah.
and they have a national chapter. They have Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Kansas, New Mexico, Minnesota, Tennessee, Arizona, and Indiana. It's 15 chapters in total, just because Texas does have several regions. But if you are interested in becoming a chapter leader or want something in your own state, your home state, please reach out to Vanessa Wood. She is all for supporting more women, having monthly meetings, virtual meetings, and just resources and connections to get involved with.
Mhm. Yeah, and then the next question is, how does this fit into regenerative agriculture? And that's probably more with Ag Steward, who our target audience is, or those that are committed to being regenerative. Any thoughts on that?
Um, I think that it's more of regenerative. I feel like that's right, like the being more being a better steward of the land. And to me, the bigger concept of right, like you're being a good steward and you're taking and being profitable for your farm and ranch. And I do think that more people need to realize that it is networking and leveraging your personal network. I do now, a lot of carbon, and the herd has an amazing carbon sink that for your soil is are they specifically saying that is better for the soil? Because I will say, like, I know buffalo in Texas originally were out here before cattle were. Is that what they're meaning? Because I thought
Yeah, I think,
regenerative farming and ranching is like being a better steward of the land.
yeah. And I think that's whether it's cattle, buffalo, sheep, it's not so much the animal, it's how they're managed, right?
Absolutely.
They can be regenerative or they can be degenerative depending on the management of them. And so definitely buffalo can play a part, partial to
Absolutely.
cattle
I do.
because that's
I
anyways.
will
But
say, yeah, I do recognize that buffalo. I think some people are intimidated by the size and the equipment that it's going to take to contain them, right? Like sometimes it's just, especially like some of the cattle that have just been in those pastures and they've just let them stay in there, and now they're having to actually consider improved fencing and cattle handling equipment. I do realize that it might be a, cost, but on the flip side, when they're marketing and having a more profitable product, but also improving their land. I would love, I mean, I personally don't know what it could do for your land and soil, like how long they would have to be on there until it's completely maximized for the improvement on there. But I do think that more I'm seeing the transition happening specifically down in Texas.
yeah, yeah, and it's neat to see that grasslands are being recognized as a way to be able to sequester carbon, not just forests and oceans and things. So um, doing it regeneratively as can be a great way to not only sequester carbon, but also it should be profitable. Not bringing in the carbon credit sales or anything like that. I think good stewardship needs to be profitable, and so appreciate you emphasizing that. With your background with the business side, can you talk a little bit about what are the characteristics of successful ag business?
Yeah, so I really feel like the successful business is one that is sustaining itself, right? Like that it is providing a product or a service not only is connecting with other people, but is very positively impacting the bottom line. So I do think that it is important that an agricultural product and service is a business that is making money for the operator. That I will say that I do see a trend that more people are interested in the agricultural crops that are offer true scientific and medical benefits. I do see a trend in that, and I don't think enough people capitalize on labeling and the opportunity to be a resource to share with others what their nutritional and medical value is of their product. I will say I heard that 2 out of 7 or 1 out of 7 people actually pick up the wrong product at the grocery store. So they're not actually seeing what they're not actually getting what they think that they're getting because of what is on the label. And so I hate to say that I think this the marketing or the product placement that I don't think enough people realize is the your opportunity to be the best advocate and educate those around you, whether it is your family or your friends that is in your circle around.
Yeah, that's great. Well, wonderful. We appreciate you being here with us today. It's great to see and the influence that women are having in agriculture. And we encourage definitely if the passion's there, if the drive's there, that the opportunity is there. We get asked a lot, how do I get started in agriculture? And I appreciate you answering that question. And I would just echo what you said, that yeah, be willing to go and get your hands dirty, be willing to go take an internship opportunity to work for free, to pay to be able to work until you gain that experience and you can pull your own weight. And once you do, then your services will always be in demand. Go and work for somebody who is doing what you want to do and is successful at it. Gain those skills, and So absolutely, I think that whether you're male, female, young or old, there are opportunities in agriculture, and I think we need to create space for this younger generation, as the older generation begins to retire. And
Thank you so much for this, and I really do appreciate that. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't done much with agronomy, much with the soil, and I'm definitely more of your gate and panel and cattle handling equipment kind of person. And so I am so sorry that I cannot answer that about that, but I do know that like our extension office does soil sampling and that you do have access through your extension office to get um any of more information on soil improvement.
yep, yeah, and definitely you can check out some of the previous podcasts, specifically the one with Josh Adams from a while back that is about building soil. Our very first podcast with Alan Williams is another great one. There's a lot of great resources out there. The folks at Understanding, if you're interested in soil health, they're a great resource as well. So just to kind of wrap this up, I'll share a quick story with a point to it. So when my second oldest son was he's probably 16 years old, and I'd sent him out to fix some fence. And it was about this time of year, springtime, and sometimes certain areas of the meadow are pretty boggy, meaning that you can get stuck, you can bog a horse down. Well, he was on a four-wheeler and he happened to drive into one of those bogs and stuck. So he's on this Honda Rancher. It's important to note it was an automatic transmission, not manual transmission. And he pushed and he pulled and he lifted and he thought, if I just had one person who could push the gas while I lift and push, I could get this out here. So being, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So I've got this bungee cord on the back. I'll bet if I tie the throttle with the bungee cord and then I get behind the four-wheeler and lift and push, it'll come out. So he did that, tie the throttle, got behind, it was spitting mud on him, but he was determined. He endured, pushed, grunted, lifted, and sure enough, the four-wheeler came out. The only problem is it kept right on going. And so Kaysen climbed out of the bog. This is my boy's name. Made sure he still had his boots on. Started running after the four-wheeler. The four-wheeler, because it was an automatic, was going faster and faster. It wasn't just stuck in one gear. Pretty soon, the four-wheeler hit a bump, made a turn, and instead of Kaysen chasing the four-wheeler was chasing Kaysen. He out just in time to avoid getting run over and looked up to see the four-wheeler drive right back into the same bog. And so sometimes that's how it is in agriculture, right? We work really hard, use our ingenuity, we use our resources, we get ourselves out of the bog, so to speak, just to find we get right back into it. And so that's what we want to help you to avoid at Ag Steward, is the costly mistakes of going in circles, chasing your tail. And the way that we do that is we provide these educational opportunities. So twice a month, we do these live webinars. We also recently did a 2-day virtual event, and we're going to stay on that. We've got another one coming up in August, and we invite you to stay in tune with us. So check out, I think it's events.agsteward.co will be the one that will be able to register you for the next event. And we hope that we see you at these events. Everything we do right now is virtual. Well, not everything. We do have some on-site on the ranch opportunities, but mostly what we're focused on is virtual. And we do have internship opportunities, small scale gardening, as well as ranching on a larger scale, all with the regenerative tone. So it's great to have you here with us. We appreciate you being here with us, Audrey. Any final thoughts before we log off for the evening?
I just reiterate, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all's time and attention. And I appreciate what y'all have created here, Mr. Jared. This is a wonderful platform, and I think everybody sees the benefit and the opportunity that is at your fingertips, right? To log on and be a part of this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we hope you guys can join us again, and definitely check out, again, the website is agwomenconnect.com. Is that?
Yes, sir.
agwomenconnect.com. Okay, very good. Thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you again on another one.